Yourself.
How about yourself? Man, doing great, man. I think the last session we had with all three of us here, I think it was probably like the election had just
Yeah.
ended, and we had more sessions after that, but with all three of us together, it wasn't. I think that was the last one. So
Mm,
that's been almost what, like 2 months now. So you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm glad you brothers are doing good, man. Hopefully everybody's doing well. And hey, we got a lot of stuff to unpack, man. It's just so
Yeah.
much has happened since we all got on the horn together, and had this bill.
Hmm.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Whether it's
Whether it's
politics,
politics,
finance,
finance,
um,
um,
and then there's
and then
the
there's the
spiritual
spiritual
element of
element of
this grand
this
reset
grand reset
and how it's
and how
affecting
it's affecting
everybody.
everybody.
So yeah.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm hearing
I'm hearing
a
an
echo.
echo.
Is anyone hearing an
Is
echo?
anyone hearing an echo?
I
Dang.
am.
So when we started recording, we went to an echo, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right,
Mm.
let me pause.
The most expensive equipment is always going to be the nails because
Mm.
you got to keep buying them over and over and over and over and over again. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
marksman, the most expensive equipment is going to be the bullets because you got to buy
Mm-hmm.
them over and over and over and over and over again. A person that's a mechanic, the most expensive thing they're going to buy is probably the screwdriver because they keep losing. You got to buy them over and over and over and over again. The same thing comes with any type of quality equipment because quality gets treated quantitatively to make you continue to make those same purchases. You know,
Right.
it's everybody got that one hoodie that they done kept for 10 years
That
and it's
can't be
still
good.
tough, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Versus somebody going in the TikTok shop and they see two pairs of fatigues for $10 and it's made out of the same stuff that they make parachutes from. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's all about that
Hey,
quantity and quality.
speaking of TikTok, man, did y'all see that the Supreme Court upheld the ban? They didn't
Right.
pause it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Starting Sunday, it closes down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the 19th.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So how do y'all feel about that? Um what y'all think the true story behind the TikTok ban and everything?
Oh,
Is it
who?
just China?
No, man.
No.
It ain't got nothing to do with none of that. It's all about money because everybody
Mm,
was making money on there.
Mm.
Nobody cared why people was doing all the dances and all of that, thirst trapping, all of that. When people came out with the TikTok shop and started becoming salesmen,
Yeah.
looking like QVC on there, and everybody was making like 10 large a month just in front of their crib selling stuff and taking themselves out of the being into brick and mortars and in
Mm.
office buildings. There were people that were quitting their jobs because they were making more money on TikTok than they ever would out in somebody's office being bossed around. It was a
mm,
freedom. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
And
why you
one of
have. Excuse me, Mike. That's why you
no,
have that proliferation of this gross negligent behavior because everyone's trying to go viral. Once you go viral, that's a source of income. So they don't
mm-hmm.
care about how stupid they look or how you know um, ignorant or degenerate. It's about going viral to get
Yeah,
those
because the
views.
payment is not in money, the payment is in attention. We
Hmm.
heard, somebody say, I'm too broke to pay attention. No,
mm. And for
that's where
me,
they're getting
I
it
look
all
at the
from.
TikTok. I look at the TikTok ban as something outside of just being money because I see people actually sharing information,
Exactly.
useful information,
Mm-hmm.
because you can pretty much monetize on any platform. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? If that was the case, if it was just they was trying to shut down people from being able to monetize, they would cut it out on YouTube. I think some of the biggest monetizers on YouTube, you got Mr. Beast, You got a handful of other people that monetize YouTube, Casa not. IG people monetize that. They got OnlyFans. So the monetization, as far as the social media platform, I think, to me, I think that would be a reason, but I think more so the reason that I see is I seen so many informational tutorial videos. People was dropping
Mm,
knowledge that you wasn't getting on those other social media platforms. You get a lot of direct information on TikTok. So I
Right.
think it was kind of like to be able
mhm,
to control more so of the information than anything.
There's a lot
mm,
less censorship on TikTok, and the people on TikTok are allowed to speak out directly against the Khazars and the Ashkenazis, and they allowed to play videos showing what they're doing and the history of them, which these
Mm,
other websites tend to censor once it gets too
yeah.
big. TikTok is not
mm,
doing that, you know.
Mm,
So, like you said, I've
mm.
only thing my problem with TikTok is personally, I just don't like the format. It's not easy to navigate for me. You know, it's too
mm,
all over the place. You know,
yeah.
Mm. I
but
could see that.
definitely information wise, TikTok they drop some gems on there. You just got to know where to look and who to follow.
I would say
Mm,
that the approaches on censorship are along a different spectrum. I'll say that because
mhm.
you know how I love the lexicon, you know how I love the etymon, and the way that they changed the way our culture expresses the etymon was something that I disliked. Can't I won't say hate, but I disliked. For example, you can't say dead on TikTok. You have to say unalived. You
Live
can't say killed on TikTok. You got to say unalived. Um,
new speed.
you have yeah. It's all based upon the spell, the etymon. Now, me being a person that loves words, I don't necessarily like that. I will say though, as a person who participated as a TikTok content creator that was not at all as successful as some of these other people because of the knowledge that I was dropping on my page through spoken word poetry. Um, for a moment, I went into a childhood, a childlike response, like, yeah, good, lose it, because y'all wasn't looking at me. I'm cool, but coming back into maturity was saying that yeah, there was a lot of people that was dropping some incredible amounts of knowledge that even before the ban were getting booted off of the app. Certain things you would say, all of a sudden they are I forgot what they called it, shadow banned. So
Shadow band.
there's some censorship there. Um, and then here's the real crazy irony of all of that. You got people who, upon notice of the ban, they all are migrating to a Chinese version of the app
Red book.
instead of right. And yeah, it's called the Little Red Book on Red Note, is what I've
Red
heard.
note. See, I'm thinking
Yeah,
of Miles Tezon.
word, right. So they moving to that, which is actually even more censored and is predominantly with those of the Asian persuasion who don't necessarily like us on there.
I thought that was so ironic how TikTok, which the whole basis of the band is because it's this Chinese company who's doing this, the spying and so on and so
Right.
forth, whatever that
That's what they do.
narrative is. But then moving to this Red app, which is Red app is a Chinese,
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. That's
right?
Oh my
crazy
God.
talk. It's
That's kind of like
crazy.
some old oxymoron type shit,
Mm-hmm.
man.
It
That's
is.
crazy. I didn't know that either about the Red app, but I did hear people saying that TikTok owners are able to spy, the Chinese government is able to spy on the
Mhm.
American people. And I'm like, yo, if that was really a thing, then why they don't come at Mark Zuckerberg for being, in people's lives,
Right.
spying, selling our
Mm.
information? Why don't they come at the other platforms for spying? So I understand it's a foreign government, and it's a difference between a foreign government spying
Mm.
and necessarily the maybe a U.S. company spying. But come on, man, don't know. Nobody should have their privacy invaded from any platform or app.
True,
Oh,
indeed, yes. But that's wherein the sacrificial lambs come in. That's when the catastrophe comes in, because all that has to be done is you present a catastrophe, an
Hmm.
extinction level event, something of
Hmm.
a cultural calamity, and watch everybody fold.
Yeah,
I'll give you
yeah.
some examples.
People take
9
bait.
11. 9
Mm.
11 hit, and everybody could not wait for the adaptation of the Patriot Act. Then you have COVID, which is
mhm.
very recent. People
Giving up your body
jumped at the
sovereignty.
chance to put the sickness in their body.
Giving up the sovereignty of your body.
Exactly. People were losing jobs because they were refused to take said shots and boosters. Meanwhile, me being in healthcare, most of the people who were repeat offenders of receiving said virus were those who were vaccinated.
I gave up a six
But
figure
we ain't
job.
gonna stay on that.
I gave up.
Yeah,
I did not. I declined a six-figure job based on
because they
having
asked for
to.
that.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
my buddy, you know him, Shy Shaq. He had hooked me up with
Mhm.
this job, working where he was working at. Um, I asked him like how much to ask for. He was like, ask for 90K. And
Mm.
when I asked for it, they was like, sure. When can you come in to fill everything out? And I was like, wow. And then I asked her, this was right in the midst of it. I was like, so what is your COVID-19 policy? Oh well, we require everyone to be vaccinated. I was like, let me get back to you in a few days. you know, and you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah,
sold not for
yeah,
sale. Bottom
yeah.
line,
Yes,
sold not for
that was what
sale.
I was about to get to. Me being a
Mhm.
minister, I can't
And
help but sometimes go into that about
and
that.
if you have studied the actual purpose of this vaccine is they want to cut off the God DNA in you, that God particle. They have isolated it in the genes, and they know how to cut it off.
Hmm.
Mm. Yo, that's interesting. Hey, look. Hey, remember when we talk about those? Because we're gonna be on YouTube with this. You got to make sure
Yeah,
you
that's
use
excuse
different
me.
codes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
right,
got a
right.
code. We got a code switch when we talk about certain things
Jabberwocky.
still, because you don't want it to get flagged or anything like that. But yo, them some good points you making, man. But I didn't, and then that's something that you bringing up now that you said that it actually you said hinders the God gene or something like
Mhm.
that. You was just speaking of referencing.
Yeah, yeah. They've been working on who was that? I'm pretty sure Minister Mike knows, but who was that guy like 100 years ago that said the vaccines will be used to disconnect your spirit? That they're going to who was that guy? He's had a
Hold
quote.
on.
He had a quote about it.
The
See,
jab,
and
jab.
yeah, excuse me, the cupcake. Excuse me, the cupcakes will be used uh, to disconnect you from your soul.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah, I
And I
remember
know,
hearing
yeah, I know Mike had mentioned, 2001, the terrorist attacks of 9/11, and them coming with the Patriot Act, like as a sign of or a symbol of their protection. So I was just
that.
looking online and I see that some of the cons of the Patriot Act, it reduced the checks and balances on government oversight.
That's correct.
So the Patriot Act itself kind of set up for 9/11, or it's set up for what we seen in 2020 when they started to push the jab on people because it limited or reduced checks and balances. So they're all piggybacking off of each other. Like when you see one catastrophe,
Hmm.
it kind of piggybacks, the next one piggybacks off of that with the things that they implement in place to, like, supposed to be quote unquote helping the people.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is the most unpatriotic that it could possibly be. Also, just, as a segue, also that being in the year of the snake, I have a list based upon the almanac, the historical almanac that I purchased in 2002, that was explaining everything that happened in 2001 culturally, environmentally. But also, I just pulled up what happened every year in the year of the snake. And there are different snakes. There's an earth snake year, there's a gold snake year, there's a wood snake year, there's a fire snake year. And
Mm-hmm.
the type of calamities that had happened on those years of the snake, though there are calamities that happen all the time, these are things that are very significant. One of them being 9/11. Okay, so the last year of the snake was in 2013. Now, what happened in 2013? Let's pull it up. What ended up happening in 2013? Boston Marathon tragedy. Kwame Kilpatrick was one of the youngest mayors of this country in Detroit, Michigan, filed for bankruptcy, lost the entire city of Detroit. Uh, Whitey Bulger got life in prison. George Zimmerman was acquitted. And Bradley Manning came out as a transgender. Now, let's think of being hindsight being 2020, what all of those things mean right now. You got certain people who believe that there are more than two genders, and they simultaneously believe that they are what is considered the new black. You have uh, the multi-faceted layers of government being willing to compromise to bigger powers and having each city or state lose certain rights, whether it is in healthcare or otherwise, to care for certain patients with certain issues. Uh, that sounds like something totalitarian to me. You know what else is patriotic? The militia. It's written that if the people find out that something is wrong or at fault with its government, they have every right to defend itself against
Against
it.
tyranny.
Absolutely. And I think things like people that we see on TikTok remind us of that. We don't want us to be reminded of that, of the power we have of fighting the power that be.
Right,
What's also
right.
interesting socially about TikTok is, so it's a Chinese application, right? In China, what's promoted on TikTok is all educational stuff. They don't allow the children to watch any garbage. It's all educational stuff. It's all about education, learning, empowering, enlightening,
Mhm.
and growing, as opposed to
Mhm.
what's promoted on TikTok here, which is all degenerative, rump shaking,
Yeah.
just
Higher vibration versus lower vibration.
exactly.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. The even the approach with Red Note. I have someone. I'm in the know of someone who is soon to be married to a woman who originated in Hong Kong, who frequents this app way before it was even talked to a public front like us Americans, and had shown multiple threads of things being written in Mandarin, uh, in simplified Chinese language, that they do not want us there, that Americans are invading our space. The last thing I would want to welcome into my consciousness upon making a change or shedding some skin is to be told that I am invading anything. That's colonist, that's colonizer energy. I'm not a part of colonizer energy
Mm-hmm.
of any sort.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even up until very recently, there are certain museums and certain teachings that are over there that do not paint us in a proper light or shade. They still have uh, certain approaches towards media, certain cartoons and things where the face is completely black and the mouth is completely red and the eyes are bulgy and white.
Mm-hmm.
This is still a part of their culture to caricaturize our people
Mm-hmm.
and, and to jump from one app that out of that frying pan and into a fire like that without even knowing if you have the freedom to say what you want to say or transfer your videos to this particular app
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, that's crazy talk to me. We're talking about a series of towns, countries that uh, very up until very recently, if you had more than a certain amount of children, one of them is going to get put away.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
And if you were
laws about population.
and if you were
Mm-hmm.
birthing females, you were killing them because you wanted that male to quote unquote continue your legacy, even though the the legacy gets continued with the female, not the male. But we live in that patriarchy that believes upside is down and and down is up. So, but
Mm. Yeah,
So,
how low can you crawl up Jacob's ladder?
mm. So yeah, I was
Man,
actually reading. So this is the year of what, the wood snake, 2025. Is it the wood snake?
I, be-
hmm,
I believe so. That is according to what
Yeah,
I
I
have
think so.
here.
I know, one of my favorite, or like one of my favorite icons, man, was actually assassinated in the year of the snake. Malik El Shabazz, Martin, Malcolm X. So it was
Hmm.
like, I was like, wow. When I
Hmm.
was looking at all the historical events that happened during the year of the snake, you know what I'm saying? The brother Malcolm was assassinated that same year, 1965.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's just when you see the tragedies, start to kind of like, form different opinions on what goes on during the year of the snake. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
we always talk about duality too, because some events you got to think some people celebrated that.
Yes,
So
that's absolutely
you
true.
know what I'm saying? It's always in the perspective of the human being. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and also
You
being the
know,
year
each
of the
side of
snake,
that board, man.
9/11 was celebrated by some
right?
people on the planet. You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it's that duality. Me and Rich, we
Hmm.
always talk about duality, man.
Hmm.
And you
You
bringing up the
know.
year of the snake, and like we were researching the other day, we noticed that the pattern of the first two world wars either started in the year of the snake or the events that led up to those wars started in the year of the snake. So
Hmm.
we're in looping cycles. So what is going to be that event this year? We
Yeah.
know a new shutdown is looming based on what's going on in China and how they're saying that this bird is mutating and causing these different uh, mutations
Was it
that
the
may
bird?
need cupcakes to to save the world again. so,
Right.
Man,
so,
it's always
um,
something, brother. It's always something.
and also
Mhm.
Oh,
the veil is being lifted this year. So what are we going to see? A UFO attack? What's going on? Like we got
mhm.
UAPs going on, we got drones. There's a lot of stuff going on. So is this the year when they finally unveil Project Bluebeam and they say that we're being attacked? So we have to have the world governments come together to fight this one big enemy that's affecting us all. So there's a
Grand
lot of things to
calamities. Yep.
unpack this year.
Hmm.
It's a lot of stuff to impact. And my suggestion or advice would be to just, you know, use your mind, use your I say your discernment
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
pick and choose certain battles. You know what I'm saying? Just pick and
Mm-hmm.
choose certain battles.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Because if we fought every war, if we fought every war, there would be no soldiers.
Yeah.
We'd be dog tired. We'd be exhausted at the very least, and we'd be all gone at the most. And that's too great of a loss.
And
So I would dare to say that the battles I choose to fight are for the rights of my people, the right uh, to certain care for ourselves and each other, and a self governance of said right if those things are compromised, which is why I believe in the last build, I was talking about taking as much space on your whatever source you use to gather media and get it in a hard copy form or PDF file, have it palatably in hand. Take your stuff out of the clouds, man. And even let's even say that as an allegory for everything. Take whatever your dreams are about what the end being nigh and all of it. Take that stuff out of the clouds and bring it here in your hand. It says in the Bible that the kingdom is at hand. You think that that was a fake hand? It was our hands. Put it into your own hands. Uh,
Mm,
and when it comes to the responsibility, no, not one person has all the responsibility. Don't think of yourself as a Swiss Army knife. Be a Swiss watch. Find everybody that is perfect in that particular venue of understanding and make sure that y'all form Voltron and allow yourselves to cipher on and work in unison. It's hard to do that. It's not impossible to do that.
mhm.
I think for me, we were talking about battles and which battles to choose and which battles, are worth your time. The only
You're
battle
right.
I'm concerned about right now is the battle of what's going on right in here,
Hmm.
because this
Mhm.
is the only way to win whatever is going on out externally is winning that battle here, and understanding what's going on in here, and understanding the power that is contained within here.
Mhm.
Mm,
Mhm.
mm.
There's
Because if you
Nice.
there's
don't control your mind, you don't control anything.
That's
Hmm.
correct. And dare I
And
say
the
that?
best way to strengthen the mind is what? Through meditation.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and I gotta applaud my brother Rico because Rico is really dedicated. When it comes to that, I gotta get better. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to meditation, because once you control the mind and you control the thoughts and things that coming in and out your mind, you pretty much control everything around you. Because one of the first things that they teach in the Kabbalion is the universe is mental. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the mind
Yeah.
is all. So
Mhm.
once you get control of that, you control your thoughts, you control everything. You can kind of like, shape your world. And that's
Definitely.
real
Absolutely.
talk.
Yeah. I see you shining, Rico. I'm seeing you,
Brother,
man.
it's the process, man. I, I've learned I have to be the eternal student. You know, um,
Mhm.
we let our
Mhm.
egos get in the way a lot of times. I do. I let my ego get in the way a lot of times, and I had to learn that. I don't. The the biggest thing I learned is I don't know anything. Like everything I think I know, I don't.
Mhm.
like And I love
I'm
learning.
so glad you said that.
I love being challenged. I love having my thoughts challenged, thinking that okay, this is the truth. But well, what level of truth is there? You know, like
Yeah.
Socrates, I know that I know nothing.
yes, you know, and
Mm,
it's the journey for me. It's learning how to be what we're all destined to be. You know,
mm,
Right.
or what our destiny should be, what we were created for. Because it's all about this process of becoming. No matter what you become, it's that process of becoming that. Some of
mm.
us become what we want to be, and some of us become what we're shaped to be. But it's always
Mm,
up to us to decide what we become.
mm. Yeah. That's a good gem right there, man. I mean, that's what it is. It's a journey, and it's like you said about the process of what you're trying to, mold yourself into, whether it be a doctor, a lawyer, any kind of profession, an NBA player. You have to take a long journey, long walks to practice, and running laps, running miles. You know, crafting your skills, sharpening your, whatever it is in your profession. You know what I'm saying? Like a chef, you got to continuously stay up to par when you're on your recipes and your dishes. So, you know, become that process. And with this year right here
Mm.
that's unfolding, I would just say people, you know, my brothers and sisters, just stay in the element of being in the process of or just know that that's what it is. Whatever you're working on, just try to make sure that you're dedicated to it, you're fully focused on it. You're meditating, or some people say praying, meditating or prayer. You know what I'm saying? All those things can help guide you when you're trying to reach that process that you're going through, or that stage you're going through, that whatever
Mhm.
it is you're trying to accomplish.
I love that
That's
you said that. And there's something I want to add to that in regards to meditation, because believe it or not, there are some people who, even in this very day and age, does not know what meditation is or what it means. Um,
Mm,
it is literally, quite literally, the art, the practice, the philosophy of doing absolutely nothing. It is clearing the mind. It is doing nothing. How many people, if we were to be at the table that we usually build at, God, tell them to do nothing for 5 minutes? None of this, none of this, nothing. They lose their minds doing nothing. Why? It's because they are not masters of being bored. There was a quote by Tim Dennings. He went into a full spiel about mastering boredom. So if people don't understand meditation, they think that's a fruity word or a high end philosophy word. I don't. I think it's a beautiful word. I love my words. But if you think about it, some of the greatest achievements that we can ascertain comes from things such as repetition, calmness, stillness, and allowing ideas and creation to come to us. And those are very boring things. Things that excite us, things that
stimulate.
stimulate, right? Things that stimulate are distractions.
Dopamine.
Yes, the constant dopamine rush, right? These are all things that take you away from the mastery of your repetition, your knowledge of self, and what would be considered by other people as boredom. I have a couple of quotes in regards on that. It's interesting how people look at this. Here's a couple of quotes. Boredom is just the reverse side of fascination. Both depend on being outside rather than inside the situation, and one leads to the other. That is from Arthur Schopenhauer. The other one is from Leo Tolstoy that says boredom is the desire for desires. And the last one that I want to leave with you in regards to that is Perhaps the world's second worst crime is boredom, but the first is being a bore. So what do these things mean? What it means is there is a way that you can engage in your discipline that can attract more discipline. We are, by example, leaders. Rico, when I see you shining, you outside and you are in a meditative position and absorbing that sun in that melanin, that's you being an example without ego being used, right? Without even trying to draw attention to yourself. Attention draws itself to you. Therefore, people are paying attention. People pay a lot of attention to those who are unbothered with the disastrous distractions of the day. See, we are unbothered by this. It's a game. We're playing with the parts and the pieces of this, and we find ways to explain it to people because we're already ready. Well, for those who are not, they go to the distractions. They need these distractions, even if said distraction is actually telling them to no longer be distracted. It's a distraction nonetheless. I know a person that says, yeah, I look at all my motivational quotes here. I look at all of my, I look at this before I go in to work out. I look at this and I think about, becoming a better person, but it's just thinking about becoming a better person. There is another approach towards this. Faith without works is dead. Yes, faith does not necessarily have to be prayer. It can be meditation. It can be repetition, because you have faith that with repetition, you're getting better at what you're doing, even if it is the mastery of boredom. To be too excited, even at a chemical level, is toxic in nature, because that breeds numbness to said amusement. That's what doom scrolling is. That's what it's what drugs do to the brain when the synapses stop. It's lightning striking across your
No more
nerves.
connections.
There's no more
No more
connection.
firing and wiring.
Exactly. And you need that. You need the wiring, the circuitry to work.
And you know what's the best way to do that? You learn something new. That light goes off and it shoots, and then you do it again and it shoots and it shoots, and then it connects and it forms a new connection of a new channel of something that you know that's lit up in your brain when you learn something, when you internalize something. The firing and wiring of neurons. Like, use this. This is electro-PZ. This is the best transformer, battery, whatever energy adjective you could think of. It's right here.
Yeah.
But we don't use it.
The largest quantum computer.
Yes.
A large
That's what all the quantum computers are based on. Every computer in the world is based on this.
Mm-hmm.
All the technology in the world is based on this and
Our
nature.
brain is the blueprint, bro. I mean, we are the blueprint. Like, we are walking blueprints of technology. I mean, that's the only thing they doing is they duplicating, who we are and putting the information out there for the world. But yeah, a quantum computer, if you look at the designs of those hardware devices and stuff like that, you'll see, what I'm saying, certain details there. Science always copy nature. That's the way that they actually duplicate everything. It's basically science copying nature.
Yeah, definitely. Like most people, Mike, you, of course, because you work in the medical industry, that all medicines are is a synthesized version of what's found in nature. because you
That's why
cannot,
they're called supplements.
right, because you,
Mhm.
right,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you can't patent nature. You can't patent a herb. You can't.
Right.
So they go into the laboratory. They break it down to its basis component. They figure out which chemicals they can use to recreate it, but it's poison
Hmm.
that they put in your body
Hmm.
because you
Hmm.
Yeah,
cannot patent nature.
Yeah,
right.
that's right. That's right.
That's
They try to. They
Yeah.
put these little 4-digit number codes on our fruit. You
Mhm.
know, they find ways to compartmentalize what is organic, what is,
Yes.
genetically modified, and all of these different things. But if we think about it in a full spectrum, we are all genetic modifications. I'm a genetic modification of my ancestors.
Mhm.
But these are chosen modifications. These are not forced modifications from an outside party. These are adaptations. That's what evolution is. It's a modification. That is genetic modification. You look at your hand. Everybody that's watching right now, I want you to look at your hand and then spread your fingers. There was a time when you didn't have webs like ducks over here in between your fingers. If you were to take glue and place paste or glue onto the front of your hand and then let that dry and peel it off and look at it, it looks like the same thing of the skin of a snake. Why does it do that? That's an adaptation to your surroundings over however thousands of years humans are in this particular flesh. Those are genetic modifications. I think we need to change the etymon and say that genetic modifications and are not the same in this room as it is in others. That we know our genes based upon our ancestors. And what y'all talking about is these science projects. What y'all talking about is these test tubes. What you're talking about is what Jakub tried to do.
And
Mhm.
what Musk is trying to do now, transhumanism, with his technocrat society dad, who believe that the only way to rule people is by having technology rule um, people, because technology is the perfect could create the perfect form of government. So we're
Mhm.
going to be moving into rapidly, very rapidly, this technocrat society. A lot of people are not ready for.
Mhm.
AI is coming. Well, AI is here.
AI's
Robots are
here.
here. Drones are here. Clones are here. Um, Everything that you can think of within science fiction, or everything you've seen in the past 60, 70 years in science fiction, we're living it now. So
Mhm.
it's time to
Mhm.
wake up. It's time to educate ourselves. It's time to be informed about what's going on in the world. And the world is not hip hop. The world is not um, music. The world is everything that affects you on a daily basis. Um,
Mhm.
it's
It's
just
also it's also what you choose to not allow to
definitely
affect you. We have to develop a certain amount of imperviousness, things that do not shake us, that do not fade us, that do not allow ourselves to express a weakness on or in our bodies. Now, is that the same as emotion? No, because we are emotional uh, by design as humans. We might not be as emotional as our female counterparts, but to deny all emotion makes us sociopathic, psychopathic, even. And that is the opposite of society. We cannot create a society without sociality. And I think maybe, some people might beg to differ about transferring their TikTok accounts to this red note. Why not touch grass? Why not call your strong friend that helped you being talked down a ledge and talk him down one for once and relearn communication. Take yourself back into a genesis of re-education of what society is, what sociality is. How many of us can go across the street to our neighbor and know them by their first name? How many of us can go 2 or 3 blocks away and know anyone that's on that city block? You know, we need to recalibrate, kind of like what we were doing before we got back here and the star and formed the stars here on this forum. There were certain calibrations that had to be done in regards to sound, in regards to vision. I think that needs to be done all over, everywhere. If we are the original supercomputer, we have to recalibrate ourselves as well.
Mm. That's definitely strong, though. The original supercomputer recalibrating itself. Hey, look, I wanted to ask you guys because we haven't touched on the wildfires yet. Do you guys
Yeah.
have any perspective about what's going on, the tragedies, and my heart goes out to a lot of the people that are going through um,
Mhm.
terrible times. But I just wanted to get y'all take on these wildfires, man. Did you guys anybody wanted to go first on that, or you know?
Well, I'll go. I'll go first,
Yeah, go
pretty
ahead.
quickly. I'll come
Yeah.
from it. I'll go on a standpoint of what we know based
Right,
on
right.
the facts. So we know that the 2028 Olympics are going to be in LA, right?
Mm.
We
Mm-hmm.
know that the proposed high-speed railway for California goes directly through the path of the wildfires.
Mhm. Mhm.
We know that there were structures that got burnt within the fires that were a certain blue that didn't get burnt. We
Mm.
know that
Mhm.
the reservoir was drained from LA County a month or two before the fires happened.
Mhm.
We know that a few years back, President Trump had tried to, well, he had actually brokered a deal with Canada to get water shipped from Canada for the express purpose of fighting these wildfires that he said would be coming in the future. The the governor of California, I believe Gavin Newsom, sued President Trump in Supreme Court and won because there was a tiny fish that he said would become endangered. So he's able to sue President Trump to stop the water, necessary water, from being shipped to Canada, from Canada to California to fight these fires.
Mm.
Um,
Yo,
it's
that's
just
Mm.
the list of egregious acts of negligence by all the officials in California leading up to these wildfires cannot be dismissed. There's
right,
many
right.
more I can add, but I'm gonna give the floor to someone else so we can continue this conversation.
Hey, now I wanted to, Mike. I'm gonna go to you, but with you saying everything you just said about how all of this stuff is coming together and it's almost like it's perfectly thought out. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now I put this article here, and it's regarding evacuations ordered in California at the fire at a battery power plant. Now, this article, to me, when I was looking at it, I was thinking like, maybe the wildfire struck the power plant.
Mm.
But from what the information in the article was given off like it was started in the power plant. Now people in that area that didn't have anything, that wasn't probably in harm's way,
Mm-hmm.
now are being evacuated. So it's like, even with it with places that's not even a threat right now, you see you have this situation going on where it's saying that they have to be evacuated because a fire started at a battery power plant. Now I do also it's a small video here. Maybe we can get an idea of what actually is going on, and see if it was started or was it something from the wildfire. Just to add on to what Rico was saying, how all of these, coincidences are happening at the same time. So let's see if this, let's get let's get a report and see if this is some kind of coincidence or what. Are you guys able to hear?
No sound currently.
Oh, there's no sound. Okay, let me see if I can manifest that.
Mhm.
While you do that, also I want to add, LA is slated to become a smart city in, what's it, 2028?
2028. Yeah.
Yep.
All of these coincidences, man.
And
Mhm.
also, what else? There was one other thing. Oh yeah, and it was a pretty huge coincidence that State Farm canceled everyone's homeowners policy in the area about a month ago. So they got letters saying they won't be renewing any fire insurance policies in that area.
Mm. Mm.
And we
Man.
also know that they have to tell us what they're doing, right? So
Mhm.
who is the gentleman that works for California, I believe, in the emergency disaster um, department? And he had a press conference where he said, literally word for word, at the end of his, well, when we started the fires in the area, he said, when we started the fires in the area. This
Mm.
is on the news. This is he's on the news saying this.
Mm.
which
That's
which if
crazy.
you
Wow.
pay attention to
Yeah.
all these
Mm.
sort of
Mm.
tragedies and acts of God and stuff like that, they always seem to, someone always has that Freudian slip during these news conferences and says, when we did this, when we created this, when we started it.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Yeah, that's weird, man. I didn't know he said that we started these fires. That's
Yeah, I think I sent you the clip of the gentleman. I'm gonna see if I have it. I'll find his name. What's the gentleman's name?
let me see. Why are you doing that? I'm just gonna
Mhm.
gloss over this article real quick. And
Yeah.
it says a fire at a battery power plant in Central California. And this is Central California. Okay.
Right. Not even
Evacuation
LA.
orders. This is crazy. The Monterey County Sheriff's Office issued evacuation orders Thursday evening, and health officials urged residents to stay indoors, keep windows and doors closed, limit outdoor exposure, and turn off ventilation systems. So, can you imagine what this is doing to the air? A,
Yeah, yeah.
a battery power plant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That
just
is so almost there's a huge array of things, environmental things, chemical things that when taken into the body for a certain amount of time, varying amounts of time, can awaken cancerous cells. Pollution is one of those things, depending upon the type of pollution, because the skin is the biggest organ of our body. We absorb it completely. If you do not take out those free radicals from what is will aid in the waking up of sickle cell trait and also certain cancers. So, you can't even walk into a dentist's office without seeing a sign plastered on the front door saying that these particular apparati has the capacity to present cancerous cells into effect in the human body. And that's law in the state of California. They have to tell you these things can cause cancer.
Mm. Yeah, man. So these coincidences, man. Like Rico was saying, the Olympics is what coming in 2028. The Summer Olympics is
Correct.
coming in 2028, and you hear all these horror stories. You know, when the Olympics come to town, and certain areas, like I think when they were in Brazil, they was talking about how people were moved around, and they were pretty much
They rounded up the
taking
homeless.
yeah taking out their home and stuff. And this is becoming to be a story that something that's always been going on, but it's like it's getting more and more out there. So now it's time for the people. Maybe we should start looking at who's on these committees, as far as these international committees that's causing such um, catastrophic events, as far as just displacing citizens. Now
Mm,
it seems like with the Olympics coming in 2028, another coincidence that we have all of these wildfires around LA County. And,
mhm,
I'm one of those guys, I don't really believe in coincidences no more, especially when it favors the wealthy and the elite.
mm.
When it goes and it works into their favor, I just kind of like, at the end of the day, I share it with my brothers because my brothers are able to see, but the
Right.
average person that's out here, you know, we view we view them as sheep, because it's like you'll talk to some people about it and they no, it's just the fire, and that happens all the time in LA. It got
Mhm.
super hot. That's what happens. The weather, climate control, or global climate change. You have so many answers provided. And Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and let you build on that, brother. I'm gonna throw that alley oop and let you take off.
As a person that used to live in Cali, NoCal and SoCal, NoCal being
Mm,
Modesto, CA, SoCal being Carson City, I'm gonna
mm,
tell you this. I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna tell you like this. When those wildfires happen, they happen in the summer months, never in winter. Never in winter, in the summer months, never in the late fall, in the summer
yeah.
months, between July, August, and September. That is in an almanac. You can look up any historical, cultural, environmental almanac, farmers' almanacs, pull them up in regards to natural disasters. There are other types of almanacs. They will show you. And they're always in the same type of location and terrain because that climate is always dry in that particular area. Here's something else very, very basic. 5-year-old can understand it. Fire does not jump.
Right.
Now,
Over whole freeways.
over
Over
whole freeways,
four
fires
lane
don't jump,
freeways.
dog. Yeah, we could jump over fires. The fires ain't jumping over us, dog. Okay,
Over a
so
natural
that's what's
fire block.
happening. Right. That's what we got happening now. Fires is jumping now. We got drones that don't belong to us. That's all the way on the other side. We got fires that jump over us. I think I've seen a joke about somebody said it's like the east versus the west of America. It looks like blue versus red. It looks like the Fire Nation versus the Ice Nation in Avatar. I'm just like,
Yeah. Yep.
it's nuts.
It's
But that does
Eastern
not
Coast is
happen.
ice. Yep.
Yeah, East Coast is ice and the West Coast is all fire.
It's fire.
How do
Hey, hey,
you how do you run out of water when you are adjacent to the Pacific Ocean, God?
Mike. To be fair, I was watching the LA. I forgot what her name was. One of the top firefighters, and she said She said, no, they didn't run out of water. What happened was the tanks were not able to be filled as quickly as they were depleted. They didn't run out of water.
Mm.
The tanks were not able to be filled as quickly as they were depleted. So you got to understand, they did not run out of water. The tanks were not able to be filled as quickly as they were depleted. There's a difference.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that is a difference. I'm glad
So-
that
And
you
another point,
corrected me on that.
like, sounds like they ran out of water to me, but I don't know.
yeah, and another point, when you were saying they're right by the ocean. Now, I did hear the science behind, using ocean water as far as to fight those wildfires. Now, what I've heard was the salt in the ocean would completely obliterate the land as far as being able to grow that land back. Salt is like, I guess it's some kind of chemical compound in salt that once you put salt down, I guess it's kind of like hard to either regrow vegetation in that area or something of that
Yeah,
nature, is why they can't just use the water out the Pacific. That's what I
that
was
that
that was the
that's a
scientific
good.
answer behind that. I heard
Yeah.
that was used in war, in strategies of war, in like the 16 1700s, where people would, if you wanted to destroy a person's land, you would salt the land. That way they can't
Mhm,
grow any kind of like foods and things like that, and
mhm.
replenish the earth. So that was the scientific reason that I heard behind it can't be used from the ocean.
Mhm.
So I like facts and what we're told. Like I like to research facts and what we're told. I can't speak on the whole salt water issue, but
Mhm.
what I do know is I did find the gentleman who his name is Mark Pastrella, and he's director
Mhm.
of the LA County Public Works. So he said this on at a news conference. So this is on the public record. And I quote, what is going to be a journey to rebuild these communities back and rebuild them better than they were when we started this fire.
Mm, mm.
Can you share that, brother? Are you able to
Yeah.
share that on the
Um,
screen?
let me see. See, because let me see. Can you access Twitter from
It's just you can
X?
put it on your laptop. Like if Twitter or X is on your laptop, you can.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I have it on my laptop.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Also,
Well,
I
that's
can do one other thing I do remember is Oregon was sending, I believe, 30 or so fire trucks to California when the fire started. They were denied entry into California because their emissions wasn't up to par for California emission standards. So your state is burning to the ground. You have you have a lack of resources. You have someone sending you resources and you deny it because it's gonna mess up the quality of the air that people can't even breathe right now. Make it
mhm,
make sense.
Mm,
mhm,
mhm. It doesn't. It doesn't. Only if you are on the end that certain population tactics, recalibration of that sort are of a benefit to you. That's the only way it makes sense. And oh, and for the record, the other thing too that I want to bring to light is throughout the state of California, this state was the most profound when it comes to health, believe it or not, because for three reasons. One, preventative health care, rehabilitative health care um, is covered at 80 to 100%, okay, with the copay. That's, you don't see that in any other state in this country, okay? The other thing is you have fruit that still grows on local trees in cities of California. When I lived in NoCal, I lived on a street called Orange Avenue. And who could guess why it's named Orange Avenue? Because in the backyard of almost every house, an orange tree was planted, and it actually had fruit. They have got to be the healthiest, what they like to say in the West Coast, tweakers on the planet. Why? Because they walk all day and they eat the fruit that falls off the trees throughout said city that they are occupying at the time. I'm talking apples, oranges, almonds, cherries. So imagine healthy homeless people that you can't get rid of, and how easy to get rid of them or to liquidate by taking all of the resources that were free from nature from them. Oh, you sent the clip. You have the
I
clip.
did. That is the clip of Mark Pastrella, the director of the LA County Public Works, saying on the public record, "We started this fire."
Ooh,
Mhm.
please play
Where
that
y'all
if
read
you're able
this at?
to. It's in private chat on the right
Oh,
side
private
of
chat.
the,
Oh, it's in private chat.
yeah. If you
Maybe I can grab it from there and share
yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm
Let's
hoping
see.
so. In the meantime, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna take my cam off. I'll be right back.
Once again, this is a powerful bill, man. We needed this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, bro. I'm glad you. Let me see. I'm glad you sent that here because now I can actually share this here. Let's see. Is it the EMP dot press quote?
Uh,
Is
yep,
that what?
that's it. That is, yep.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let me add this up here, and I think what I'll do is because of all of these events, um, pretty much this podcast right here, or broadcast rather, is going to be called the Year of the Snake 2025, man, because a lot of stuff is being exposed. So, Rich, if you want, is this what you was reading from right here?
Yeah, yep. That's the
If you
clip
want, you can go
of
ahead
him.
and you can read that, for the people out there.
Or if you can play it, I don't know if you can play it. You can we can hear him speak it verbatim. This is the clip
Oh,
of him
okay.
saying it.
Now that was the crazy part because when I was doing that earlier, the sound wasn't coming through. So that's the
Uh
only. Let me
okay.
try it. Let me try it because it's actually playing now. Let me see. We embark upon is going to be. You hear the sound? To
Yes.
rebuild. Are you able? Okay. And rebuild them better than they were when we started this fire.
When we started this fire.
So, yo, I need to replay that because that actually it caught the end of it too. What
Mhm.
in the heck? First piece of advice to you is let's take care of our mental and physical health first before we embark upon what's going to be a journey to rebuild these communities back and rebuild them better than they were when we started this fire. Wow. Hey,
Mic
Rich,
drop. Huh?
you might drop. Hey, yo, you clutch. Bro, I said, bro, can you do that? Can we see that? I want to, what I'm saying, just
Yeah.
add that. You know what I'm
It,
saying?
it's
Because
it's
people
important
be
for
thinking,
people to
sometimes you be tripping where you getting your information from.
yeah.
What matrix are you
I,
in? Hence the
I
show,
understand.
Matrix Unlocked. What matrix are you in? You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Because it's just like, there it is. It's right there. And like you
It's
said,
just
whether he meant to say it or not, whether it was a slip of the tongue, it kind of like you said, all bad things eventually come to light, in some way,
definitely.
form, or fashion. I was looking at something the other day where I think I sent it to you, and it was on Twitter, and it was it was some tapes that was released on the Kennedy
Right, right.
assassination, and it was the director of the DNC speaking about LBJ lining the president up, you
Yeah,
know, and the hitman that was hired, Matt Wallace, and me and you, we more familiar with the story, so we
of
know it was
course.
more than one hitman. We know it was
Exactly.
several hitman. So, you know, they had a backup plan to a backup plan to a black backup plan. So either way, he wasn't gonna make it out of
It was
there.
going down.
Um,
Yeah.
and if anybody wants to check it out, the full story is actually shown on what was that? It's a YouTube documentary. Everything
Um,
is a rich man's trick, right?
Everything is a rich man's trick. If anyone, I would implore everyone to, if they want to get a just a base knowledge of what's going on in the world right now and who's um, what families are in charge and basically what the backstory is of where we are right now. I would look at that documentary. It's called "Everything Is a Rich Man's Trick." You can go on any streaming platform. It's on YouTube. It's on Rumble. But it just basically breaks down um, who the ruling families are, and it goes into in-depth detail of why Kennedy was assassinated and who assassinated him, with all the receipts.
Mm, yeah, yeah, man. So, hey, you brothers, have any last words? I think I'm gonna probably get ready to roll out. I have another meeting in a second,
Definitely.
coming up. But you
Just
guys have any last words or anything like that on the bill?
I just want to let
Um,
Mike know that we were while you was gone, we did find the clip. We played the clip. You
Mhm.
you definitely hear him say when we started this fire. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And
Man.
this is going out today. So this whole joint, it's going to be released tonight. So we'll be able to go back and play it tonight. I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna drop the whole bomb on them this time because it's 2025, and we'll do clips as well, but I'm gonna drop the whole joint. So that way, Mike, you'll be able to see that clip. Everything, all the information is here. And
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead, Rico.
so I just want to end with like this is 2025 year of the snake. This is a year of transformation. There's going to be a lot of big changes coming this year, but what I think is the most important change is we're traversing to the spiritual side of this universe. We're in a solar maximum. Um, the poles have reversed. There's a lot of things going on up there that's directly affecting what's going on down here. Which there's a lot of things going on. If you are already up here, that should be directly affecting what's going on down here. So let's take the time. Let's align our hearts and our minds and tap in. We're in that time where it's time for, as Sister Myra says, we've done all we can do on the physical side. So it's time for the spiritual side to manifest and us to grow. So I would just say, everyone tap in, do the work and love and light, man.
Good, good.
Do
And
the work and love and light.
the minister. I know you're gonna leave us with a.
I remember as a child, back when these only had one or two colors on the screen, playing a game called Snake. I remember fondly of pressing certain digits to move the head of certain snake and the game being over at the point where the snake bites itself. Ladies, gentlemen, nation of gods, earths, sun, moon, and stars, we are at a point where the snake is about to bite itself in front of us. And for many people, think of that as the game being over. But one thing that I can honestly say, as a person who studies uh, all of the uh, the movements that have been made over decades, if not hundreds of years. You can always go back to the 1 to 10 to express these things as a child. The first number that touches itself is a 6, and the second one that does is an 8 and a 9. In the year 2025, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. We are looking at the image right now of a snake that is in the end of hitting a 5 and its neck turning down towards its side, forming a 9, which is born, which is ether, which is not just death, but rebirth. If we have to shed light in the midst of darkness as the candles that we are, let it be known that this is not just a time of death, but a type of rebirth, a time of resurrection, of life, of that love and light in and of itself through each other. My beloved wife said to me, Jesus has been coming my entire life. We already know that it is here. It is not that we aim in, it is that we aim in. It is a command. It is our new philosophy. It is our new way of life. And may that be the way that we, all of the chains within this cipher, remain unbroken.
Hey, that was wonderful, brothers. That was
Amen.
wonderful. Awesome bill. Hey, to the people out there, if you like the content, like, share, and subscribe. You brothers, I know we've been chopping it up. It looks like about the last hour and a half and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick off everything and boom.